Hello, everyone. It is Wednesday, the 28th. I got to double check the 28th of January. How are you? And you, but especially you. Yes, you out there in the middle. How are you doing tonight? I like that you got a seat right there in the middle. You don't want to miss a thing. This is going to be a good one. This is going to be a good one. I'm excited to be here tonight. Let's get all my screens up and going. Boom, boom, boom. Oops, I gotta fix the collar there. How are you guys doing tonight? I'm excited to be here on this Wednesday night. So excited. I hope you are having an exciting evening as well. I can't believe we are here on the last Wednesday. Hey, Lou, how are you? Great to have you here. How are things in Iowa? The overwhelming thing I hear from everybody, and I don't care where I talk to you at, pretty much everywhere is I'm sick of the snow. I'm sick of the snow, is what I hear. That is the most common statement I have heard, and I have heard it in all sorts of states. I heard it in North Carolina today, or well, that might have been late last night. I heard that. Everywhere is Michigan. People are just are weather worn a little bit right now, is for sure. And old man winter, it's Mother Nature and it's old man winter. You ever, I think there's some sexism there. Mother Nature's caring and nurturing, but old man winter is out there. Do with that what you guys want. You guys take that one and do what you want with it. I'm not sure where I was going with that, but you do what you want with that. But it is great to be here with you live tonight. I'm excited to be here. I got a story to tell you tonight, and that's what I'm excited about. Let's get started with our opening quote tonight. Our opening quote. Ooh, I like this. If your dreams do not scare you enough, they are not big enough. If your dreams do not scare you enough, they are not big enough. That is a quote from Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, at one time president of Liberia. A former president of Liberia went to our school, our college. Not that one. We've had senators, governors, and the president of Liberia went to Bentley at one point. I think is my story, anyways. It is so good. So we've been talking about beliefs and mindset. We've been talking a lot about mindset and getting there. And the mind is a incredibly powerful tool. The mind is everything. I always say it all starts up here, and sometimes I get laughs for that. And sometimes, like people in my house might roll their eyes at me for that. I'm like, it's all starting up here. It all starts up here. And, it really does. It really does. And the stories we tell each other and the stories we tell ourselves. And so that's what I wanted to talk to you tonight about a little bit is the stories we tell ourselves. And they seem well rooted, but they're not. You're not using the scientific or math method. How's that? Does that make sense? Well, let me rephrase that. I think I will help it make sense. Let me see if I can bring that around and turn it into something because we don't always bring the scientific method or mathematical method. I always say numbers don't lie, people do. And so it is, with that I tell this story tonight. And, so I'm going to tell you a story about, let's call her Jenny. Okay? I'm going to tell you a story about Jenny. And Jenny had a problem. Jenny had a problem. And I usually when I tell story, I usually don't name names, but we're gonna just call this person Jenny. Okay. And Jenny kept on hearing scratches in her house. Like, you hear that? We must have rats. Hear that scratching? We must have rats. I mean, they live in Jenny, for the sake of this story, lives in Florida, so rats are not uncommon in Florida. But she kept on hearing it. You hear it? You hear it? And then she would ask other people in the house, you know, her friends, her kids. You hear it? Like a rats. Like a rats. Do you hear it? And not everybody has a wicket that can come catch them or anything. She didn't see any rats. There was no scientific evidence of rats. There was no mouse poop throughout the house. There was no trail of food from the kitchen. It's just the sound of scratching. Hear that in the walls? Hear that? It's the scratching. And so it was driving her nuts. Nuts, I tell you. Nuts, I tell you. And other people were hearing it too now. She'd ask people, friends would come over, they'd hear it too. She'd ask, other people that lived in the house, kids and husband, everybody, they were all hearing the rats. And so what do you do when you hear the rats and you don't have a cat? You live in the country, you're living in Florida, but Florida's on a swamp, and you have rats. We brought in Aaron's dog Lily when a ground squirrel came into the store one day. It was exciting. I bet it was. I live in the country. I have Leo from Orkin on speed dial. Leo is he's been on speed dial for years. We live in the country. The original part of our house was built on a stone foundation. The additions weren't, but the original part of the house is still on a stone foundation. So, you can't keep things out completely, but this is what Jenny was dealing with. The person we're calling Jenny. Protect the innocent here. And so, since they didn't have access to Aaron's dog Lily, they called in an exterminator. And, the exterminator's like, well, I don't see any current evidence, but yeah, I hear it. I hear what you're hearing. While I've been here, I've heard some of it. And, I can leave some traps, bait stations and things to deal with it. And we get those here, so it's not, uncommon. And, so you could have it. And, but they kept up, and he did all that and charged them and was very fair and did it, but they were still hearing it all through. You'd hear it, and it was driving Jenny nuts because she knew it was rats and she couldn't sleep and she couldn't do, and it was driving her nuts, and then that was driving everybody else in the house nuts. Husband, her kid, everybody was going nuts because of the rats. So, the exterminator came back out and he's like, well, the next step is really, extreme. We can basically like tent the house and exterminate the whole house and do the whole thing. The major big buck big bucks, whammy everything that's living in that. We can kill everything that's living in there. Okay, you all leave, and anything that's still in the house, we will kill. And they hemmed and hawed about that because it was so expensive. But this was like they were literally losing sleep over this, and it was going constant. But they were all convinced that it was rats. Okay, because it had to be. What else could it be? What else could it be? Okay, and everybody believed it was rats. Everybody that heard it believed it was rats. And they did all this. And to fast forward a little bit in this story, in Jenny's story here of her trauma, it turns out it was not rats. It was not rats at all. It was her new air freshener that every so often it would let out a little bit of air freshener, and so it would kind of like the ones you see in the bathroom, in commercial bathrooms that spritzes every so often. It was that. It was not rats at all. So this had gone on a long time of this self-affirming belief. Okay, the stories we tell our mind, the way our mind builds things up, okay, and quickly goes to the negative, okay, and the affirmations we tell ourselves. When we give ourselves negative affirmations, when we tell ourselves negative stories, okay, we only think of negative stories. We only bring negative to life. When we tell ourselves negative, we bring negative to life. When we tell ourselves rats, we bring rats to life. Okay, there were no rats, but Jenny brought rats to life at considerable expense too. Okay, she spent money on this too. Okay, with the exterminator and everything. Okay, she had sleepless nights. Okay, because she brought these negative thoughts to life. Okay, one little thing, and she brought these negative thoughts. She brought these rats to life. I mean, it was a horror movie, a Disney movie. Well, not a Disney movie, but a horror movie. And she literally brought that to life. And so think about the stories you tell yourself. Okay, because I've said it many times here. You've heard me say it. Nearly 100% of the worst things that ever happened to you, okay, the worst things that have ever happened to you happened in your head. Right up here. Right up here. For Jenny, it was rats. Okay, this time around. But it was all in her head. It was all in her head. And I'm not saying Jenny's crazy, okay? But I'm saying that we manifest these ideas. We manifest these negative. We give all our attention to these negative thoughts, and we bring negativity to life. We bring negativity to life. That is something that we do, and it is not healthy. We do it, but imagine what we could do with that energy if we focus that energy on positive thoughts. I'm going to grow my business. I'm going to grow it 15% this year. I'm going to grow it 10%. This is going to be my best year ever. I am going to do this. I am going to run a marathon. I am going to win my city's best of. If we worked on positive thoughts, I am going to train the best staff and have the most comprehensive staff in the business. Okay, I am going to redo my store. Okay, if we keep on telling ourselves positive things, okay, and positive affirmations and positive stories to ourselves, your mind can make that happen too. Jenny created rats out of nowhere, okay? And they were living up here. They were living up here, okay, rent free, mind you, rent free, okay, causing lost sleep, lost productivity, anxiety. What if success was there? What if you planted the seeds of success the same way Jenny planted the seeds of rats? You planned your success. You're going to make the most money this year. You're going to have the most time off. You're going to have the best vacations this year. Okay? You're going to be your healthiest self this year. You get to decide. You. Yes, you. I'm talking to you. Yes, you. I'm talking to you. You get to make that decision. You get to affirm. You get to say what is so. And so I challenge you to bring the positive to life. I mean, I know some of you listening were freaking out with the rat thing, okay? And like, if there were rats in my store, I would freak out. If there were rats in my house, I would lose sleep. And some of you were doing that. I mean, I just saw the episode the other day on the pit where there were rats in the hospital, you know. But there are these opportunities to use your mind for positive things. So I know we can't completely vanquish bad thoughts. Be gone. Bad thoughts be gone. But you don't have to give them oxygen. You don't have to affirm them. You don't have to say them like they are a daily prayer. Okay, give the energy to the good stuff. Give your thoughts to the good stuff. Reaffirm the good, and you will continue to grow. You will be your best self, yet you will be amazing, and your business will be amazing, and the people around you will be amazing because you will attract fabulous things. You will attract fabulous things. When you are fabulous, you attract fabulous. Okay, when your mind is in the right place, when your head is in the right headspace, when you are affirming positive thoughts, you are fabulous. And that is pretty freaking amazing. Pretty freaking amazing and fabulous. That is what I'm talking about. You know what else is fabulous? This video and everything I talk about, goes over to the YouTube channel. You're not alone running this store where you can like, comment, subscribe, and oh yes, ring the bell, ring it, so you know when another one drops. You can also share it with all your friends in business, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, so we can help everybody run a better business. I am here every Sunday and Wednesday at More 8 Than Ish, Sunday and Wednesday at More 8 Than Ish. But if you have a question in between, just email me, Neil at nextlevelresale.com, Neil at nextlevelresale.com, or DM me on Facebook. I'm easy to reach. We start the program every night with our opening quote. Our opening quote tonight is, if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. Our closing quote tonight is, there are two ways of spreading light, to be the candle or the mirror that reflects it. Be the candle or the mirror that reflects it. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Neil Abramson. I can't wait to see you on Sunday at More 8 Than Ish. Until then, have a great night, everybody. I'll see you, yes, you, soon.